Yo, what's up, Foolys? It's your boy Othree. Welcome back to the Othree Exhibit. You're about to watch and listen to exhibit number 29, The Story of Lost Albert. But before we begin, I just want to remind everybody that I do have a Discord server. It's the best platform to keep up and stay up to date with everything that I do now that I'm off of social media. But other than that, those are all the updates that I have for you. Now, for the story of Lost Albert, we talk about his family roots and what it felt like to grow up in Hollywood, Arkansas, and Pomona. So let's begin. Post up and enjoy. Been a minute. Got a guest today. Got my boy. He's gonna tell his story. You want to introduce yourself?
What's up? It's the Lost Albert, man. Nice to meet you guys out there.
I believe that our story begins before we're even born. All right. So my question to you is, where's your family from? Where are your roots? Like, where does your story begin?
Bro, so my roots begin in Hollywood, California. Well, not my roots, but my background is my pops is Mexican and my mom is Honduran.
Okay.
Yeah.
What part of Mexico is your dad from?
From well, they call it now La Ciudad de Mexico. They used to call it, I guess, before El DF.
Yeah, I think everybody still calls it El DF.
Yeah, me too, fool. But so, like, somebody corrected me, and I'm like, "Shit, my bad. I'm sorry."
Oh, my bad, huh? Like, oh, you know
Yeah,
better and shit. Yeah.
right. Yeah, like I swear, I used to always call it El Distrito Federal, because of my pops. But one day I forgot what I was doing, and I was like, I told somebody like, I think my dad was the one that corrected me, bro. He was like, no, güey, ya no se dice el DF, ahora es la Ciudad de Mexico, and I'm like, oh shit, okay.
It's still it's still weird to hear that because when you grow up, it was always El DF, and I forgot
El
when it
DF.
was. I forgot when they changed it, but I mean, you hear people call it Ciudad de Mexico, La Ciudad de Mexico, and I used to call it El DF or whatever. And
Right.
but you say your mom's from Honduras, right?
Honduras, yeah, bro.
What part of Honduras is she from?
Uh, bro, I've heard. I'm just gonna say like three spots because that's just the three spots I've heard growing up, and it's like it's Tela, Tegucigalpa, and I have like some family in La Ceiba.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't. I forgot to ask you, but you ever been to El DF or La Ciudad de Mexico? My bad, you know.
Yeah, bro. As a matter of fact, dude, I have. It's pretty sick. The last time I haven't been recently, but the last time I went, it was back when I was like 16 or
Mm,
17. My dad took me. My dad always was good at taking me. Like my mom, she was like low key, like I don't want to say that she didn't care, maybe, but she only took me once. Like, and that was when I was like 2 or 3 years old. I don't remember. I only seen like pictures of me like in this cool looking river, and they were all like chilling, like all my like cousins and aunts, and they were like, there's like this little waterfall, and they're like chilling under like this. It looks like it was like old pyramids, but like you could tell it's just like a spot that they knew and they went to, but that's pretty much it.
super in the cut in Honduras.
Yeah, in the cut, bro, in Catracho land.
Catracho, that's what they call fools from Honduras, huh?
Yeah,
I always forget that like people from Central America, they all have a lot of like well, there's Honduras and there's Catracho, right? There's Guatemaltecos and then there's Chapin, right? And then there's
yeah,
Salvadorans and they call them
like guanacos.
Guanacos.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
guanacos.
So there's
Yeah,
always like a separate name besides the the origin or the ethnicity of the country, however you want to call those words. I don't know, but
right, right.
that's dope, man. That's a beautiful background. It's cool to to be able to go there, right? To
Yeah.
be able to experience this. Obviously, like you said, you have three different places in Honduras that you could technically call home or technically call your roots.
Right. Yeah.
Is there a specific one out of the three where you were like, where you look at it, you ever researched it and was like, damn, I want to go to this one?
I think it's Tegucigalpa. I think that's like the city. I would like to go there, but I mean not probably probably not nowadays because like I have a lot of tattoos and I heard that it's pretty bad out there. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like people assume on the fly, and it's just I feel like there's a not to be like not to put them in this category, but I feel like there's a lot of like ignorance.
mm.
You know what I mean when it comes to certain like individuals, like knowing how to like know who's who, you know what I mean, type thing. And over there, it's not like here in the States where like if you see somebody that's tatted up, you know, you could just tell like, oh, that fool probably, you know, he probably like gang banged or like, you know, over there everybody dresses like a you know, it could be a punk rocker. I mean, nowadays is everywhere, but I'm just saying like back in the day you can actually tell who is who versus like now everybody's just low key dressing and like long hair and like, you know,
You don't know it nowadays, dog.
you don't know. Yeah, you don't know. It's very discreet.
Even out here, and I know this has nothing to do with roots, but even here in LA, dog, like there was
Oh
a
yeah.
certain point growing up where everybody's bald head,
Yeah.
tattoos, long shirts, pro clubs, dickies, and then there was a switch at some point.
Hmm.
Now fools got like fools got the Edgar haircut, the little
Yeah.
the style, that haircut, they're all different. You know, maybe the lifestyle is a little similar, but the way of dress, like the
Right.
fashion, completely different.
I think what changed it was when social media came into light.
Exactly. I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
The influence of other cultures and
Right.
the combination of multiple cultures kind of affected our community as well, and in ways that is reflected in the fashion and in the mental state.
Absolutely.
But we could talk about that in a different
For
in a,
sure.
in a different segment or in a different
Hmm.
episode. Going back to your family and your roots, and then you said Hollywood, right? At what point
Yeah.
did you come into the picture? Or your family already here? Did they move here and then
So my parents came. So it's a trip, bro. Like my mom went to Mexico, and my dad was like obviously there. Like he was like playing soccer. Like he was very into like soccer and stuff, and he still is. Is a trip. And so my mom migrated to Mexico with my two other brothers, and then met my pops, and I guess they like dated for a cool little minute, maybe like a year or something, and then they just I guess my mom had like my aunt, which is her twin sister. You know, like twins usually always stick together and shit. So, you know what I mean? So, so she was wanting to come to the States, and you know, in Honduras at that time was like pretty bad or whatever. So they just wanted to try something different or whatever. And then my pops was gonna stay in Mexico. He was like, "Fuck it, I ain't going over there or whatever." And I don't know, some way somehow that food just ended up, you know, hopping the border with him. So he just said, "Fuck it," and
Huh.
so like they did that like in the 80s. I think it was like 82, 83 or some shit when they landed in Los Angeles.
Typical story, I feel like I have the same
Right.
same the classic tale from our peoples. My dad early 80s. I think the first time he came was 79, went back, and came back to LA at some point. My mom, she crossed in 90, 91, 90, yeah. But it's a classic tale for our people, especially our age, first
Yeah.
generation. The
Hmm.
80s was kind of the landing point for a lot of our parents.
Yeah, it's a trippy thing. I still don't know a lot. Like I still learn like every time I talk to my pops, like I learn a little bit more, you know?
Yeah,
It's
it's
it,
always.
it's never it's an ending, it's never an ending story.
And I feel like the more curious you are, the more you know, the more you find out.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
those
yeah,
stories, he could just take them to the grave, dog, and you could live on the
right.
rest of your life without knowing all that information.
Absolutely.
What is something that he's told you that you've carried with you up until this point in your life? Something that he went through as a kid or something like that.
Just pretty much just be you, man. You know what I mean? Like, just he's always been 100. Like, never really cared about like materialistic shit, and like never really cared about none of that shit. He just cared about his health and his well being, and pretty much the well being of his youngins. Versus my mom, she was like the opposite. You know what I mean? She came to the States and everything was just like glorified, like things. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Materialistic shit. She fell into that shit, and that's one of the reasons why I don't talk to her and shit. It's a trip. But we've always had these little things, you know what I mean? Where, oh, whatever, whatever. But yeah, fucking pretty much that's what it is, man. He's pretty much just always guided me like that. That was like he's like beyond my best friend. He's like my guidance, bro. Like, you know, what would you call that? Like, you know,
He's playing up the role of the father, dog.
pretty much, yeah, like and beyond, bro, like beyond just on some crazy, we talk about some crazy shit, dog. It's a trip. I'm just glad I have him, you know, because I know a lot of situations a lot of people don't, you know. But yeah, it's a trippy thing because he has no family here, bro. So like, you know what's so crazy, bro, is that, you know, like speaking of like, you know, coming from over there, like I remember going to school and like people having cousins here and there, left and right. I only had cousins here from my mom's side. You know what I mean? Like all my dad's family stayed in Mexico, dog. Like they didn't give a fuck about the States. They're like, nah, we're good. Aquí estamos bien, hijo. You know?
Yeah, that's crazy. No Mexican cousins and shit. No Mexican
No, fool.
family. So
Nah, bro.
you just grew up straight Honduran culture.
Yeah, straight Honduran culture. That's why usually like when I speak Spanish, like, the more Central American comes out,
Mm.
but kind of choppy with the Mexican slang at the same token.
That's a cool little mix right there. What do you identify as though?
Bro, honestly, I used to just rep like the Catracho side a lot, but I always had like the Mexican and see, and that's where it comes from, right? It's like I told you, bro, it was just weird growing up, bro, not having my cousins here from Mexico. It's just a trip because I seen it, right? You see it in society, in school. Oh, aquí, la familia de mi mami, la familia de mi papá, whatever, like, but I never had that, bro. It was always either we went and kicked it with my aunt in Pomona and shit, my mom's twin sister, the one I told you that hopped the border with them. And that was pretty much it. When my pops, like, it was either we kicked it, like once my mom and him split up, it was just either like I kicked it with my pops and like we just talked about some deep shit, went out to eat, played soccer, and pretty much kept it like that. And then with my mom, it was more like, oh, we're gonna go over here, to your tias, and we're gonna kick it and do all this barbecue shit and like pretty much. Yeah, it was a trip, bro. I still think about that kind of shit. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, why didn't I have like why wasn't I that kid that
Grew up
had
with
a
the
cut?
stereotype, the
Yeah,
stereotypical Mexican, 1,000 cousins and shit.
yeah, bro. Like, hey, ¿qué pasó, primo? Hey, no, qué pedo? They just come through your crib and like they're just kicking it. Yeah, I never had that shit, dog. It was weird because I seen it, with the homies, but I never with me. But at the same time, I guess I saved myself from a lot of drama because that's how it is in my mom's side of the family. There's a bunch of fucking drama, a lot of hurt, a lot of third world country. You know what I mean?
Trauma travels, dog.
Oh, bro, that shit, bro. And that's the thing is that I feel like if your parents don't know how to like get away from that shit, like they bring it and they shoot it down to you, and that's the fucked up part is learning how to invade that memory or that type of sadness. You know what I mean? Because it's sad. Let's be real. Why fake the funk and say that everything is okay because it's not. You know?
I mean, just think about. I try to put myself in your pop shoes where you have no family here in the United States, right? It's L.A.,
Right.
right? He landed in L.A. in the 80s. It's
Yeah.
a crazy time in L.A. Obviously, the community is still kind of more segregated. It's still even more Mexicans roll with the Mexicans, the Catrachos roll with the Catrachos, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
now it's a little bit more open and a little bit more um intersected, and then there's a lot of more community with other races and other ethnicities.
Right.
But I feel like back then, from what I've heard and from all of the people that have told me about their parents' stories, it's been more community based off of the ethnicity. But to not have family, right? Because a lot of the community starts with the family,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So did your dad have to? I mean, obviously he had soccer, so I'm pretty sure he made friends, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Who are technically you call your tios or whatever, or not?
Nah, bro, like it was never, that's what I'm saying. It was never really like that deep, dog. Like you're talking about like fools that my pops met, like when I was younger playing soccer, like going to those games over there in fucking like Inglewood and shit.
Yeah, yeah, like at the random parks and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who you call
Yeah.
Theo, but are not even related to your pops.
Right. Yeah. No, there was a couple dudes, but it was like I don't remember, dog. It's just that type of thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of boring, but at the same time, it's like I'm kind of glad. You know what I mean? Now that I'm at this age and we're always learning and shit, but like I like that one how evidence, when he dropped that one fucking album, it was called Unlearning. That shit was dope, bro. Like learn to unlearn. It's crazy. I never like at first I didn't understand what he was saying with that, but it makes a lot of sense because speaking about like roots, you know what I mean? Roots run deep, bro. And sometimes those roots can be toxic. You know what I mean? Shouts out to the homie Toxic.
Shout out to that fool.
Right.
So now we're moving into your childhood, right? You're born in the 90s, correct?
Yes.
Born in the 90s. You grew up in the 90s, early 2000s. what was your life like? You remember your life before elementary school or not?
Um,
It's kind of hard, right? But
yeah, it is kind of hard. It's crazy because I always think about that, like in back in my head sometimes, and I feel like the age where I remember is probably like 5 years old when I start to analyze shit.
become conscious and shit.
Yeah,
The
type
mind
shit.
activates. You feel me?
Yeah, bro, for sure, for sure.
So I mean, we don't really have memories like that. We could go through down memory lane, but you go into elementary school, right? Where do you go to elementary school?
Bro, so so it's kind of a trippy thing. Like, so I went to pre-K at this like place where you actually pay.
Mm.
So like I didn't go to your regular pre-K. So my dad was making pretty good money at this time because he was like connected with like Scientology and shit.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and he was like he would make clothes for like Scientology. I don't know if you ever seen those fools, but they dress like sailors.
Nah, I never seen this shit. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, they're over there because he used to work at this shop over there on Fountain this is in Hollywood. It's on Fountain and Edgemont, and they have like this big blue building. If you look it up, you can see it.
I know that's next to the Kaisers, right?
Yeah, right there. So like my pop's tailor shop, well, the one that he ran with this Korean dude, his name was Choi. He was a cool cat. Anyways, this fool would real quick, this fool would always dress like in the Nike gear, bro. Mind you, this is like the 90s. But but anyways, so like my pops was connected with them, and he was making pretty good money. So like I remember my pre-K, like I went to pre-K with like people that, bro, it's crazy because I went to pre-K with, if I'm not mistaken, my pops told me I went to pre-K with, I think it was Oprah Winfrey's daughter or something like that. So it was like very like it was pretty cool. But once I got to elementary, money kind of like wasn't flourishing as much because times and change and shit like that. But I went to my first elementary I went to, bro, like legitimately, I was trying to go to Ramona. It was called Ramona right there in Hollywood. It was like on Santa Monica and fucking I forgot the fucking name, but it's right there. Anyways, so that school was too packed, so I ended up going to Pinewood, fool, like over there by Rancho. I know it's not Rancho Cucamonga, I think Rancho Cucamonga, is it? I forgot, but it was called Pinewood, bro, and it was. I remember I had to catch the bus out Ramona, and like it was a trip, bro. That shit was all a trip, but it's crazy to remember that shit. It's crazy.
So you would take the school bus from Ramona, the school you wanted to go to or you needed to go to a different
Yeah,
elementary school.
like
Oh,
it was like 45 minutes away, fool.
oh shit! Would you tripping in the school bus? You remember this or what?
Yeah, fool. Yeah, like fool those big fucking, like the, what do they call it? The Twinkie
Yeah,
fucking.
the Twinkies and
Yeah,
shit. Yeah,
yeah,
Twinkie mobile.
yeah,
Whatever.
bro. That shit was dope though. It was a good experience, man. I remember my dad. We would like walk all the way to the bus stop and shit, and like, and I would just catch the bus right there, and then 45 minutes, bro. You get to this other. It was weird though because like you're not from that area where that school's at, so it's like the only thing you can do is just like stay there until your bus comes and gets you after school. But it was a trip. It was unique though, man. I feel like thinking back now, all of that shit was unique.
This is why I do this podcast. I like hearing about unique experiences. Everybody has
Right.
their own experience at elementary school, right? But
Yeah.
you're talking about your pops, right? You say your pops this, your pops that. So you're not living with your moms at this time, right? Their separation already happened.
Yeah. She had moved here to Arkansas.
Okay, okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, so I mean, my next question was gonna be like, because we could talk about the academics and how you were as a kid, but before we get into that, how was your life outside of the school, right? So, mom's is in Arkansas. You're living with your pops. Did you ever get to visit or not?
Where, Arkansas?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would go. So when my mom's first moved here to Arkansas and shit, it was so random. It was weird. It was a weird time. It was like a cold era. You know what I mean? Like it was very. It was confusing. I can tell my pop got a big hit and shit because this was like when my mom's moved down here. It was like the second time that they had like try to fix shit, but then my dad was like, "Nah, esa pinche vieja, no más trae puros problemas, type shit." But straight up, bro. And
Oh shit.
mind you, my dad at this time was probably like in his 30s, dog. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I feel it because like I'm in that, and it's like like life is completely like a trip. And anyways, yeah, I would come visit her here and there. It was dead here, bro. Dead. It was called Springdale, Arkansas. I
Mm,
remember I was in
nothing.
right, bro. I was in elementary, bro, and I remember looking Springdale, Arkansas up, and the only thing I remember was Little Rock, which is the capital. And it's pretty cool because now I'm in tune with all that shit. Like it's pretty cool. Like, but yeah, and yeah, with the graph shit and everything. But yeah, anyways, pretty much she moves here, whatever, and then my pops is like pretty much the main one, like looking out for me and shit. And there's a plot twist to this shit though, because like after my mom is like there for like a year and a half, she went with one of my older brothers went with her. Like this fool was like 17 and shit. I was like I think I was like 9 or some shit at this time. And then she, out of nowhere, she came and picked me up, bro, like on some hater shit, dog. like
The
like
classic.
yeah, the classic shit. You know what I mean? Fucking she picked me up, fool, and I actually lived here in Arkansas while 9/11 happened.
Oh,
Yeah, I lived here for like a year and a half, and then after that, I moved back to Cali.
damn, that must have been a trip, right? Because what do you tell a kid, right? It's not because it was forced. It wasn't
Right.
like you pack your things up as a family and you move. It's a little bit more
Yeah,
understandable. You're a little kid, and then it's like a tug of war.
bro, trip out. So like my mom when she came back, right? She came back with all these fools, dog, like and my brother. And like little did I know she was like low key dating this one fool that came and helped pick up all her shit. Cause my mom, like I told you, bro, she's always been into materialistic shit. So she had like all her like like where you put the TV in there, like el mueble, like some like beautiful muebles and shit that she wouldn't even touch. You know what I mean? Like she had like this one thing that you could put like plates in it, but nobody can touch it, type shit.
The
Some
China,
yeah, bro.
I don't know what that is. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
something
exactly
like
what you're
that.
talking about. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, some people put their booze in there and shit, but yeah, she had like plates and shit, and like she came and picked all that shit up, fool. Like, so mind you, when she picked all that shit up, like the whole fucking like the whole like apartment looked empty, fool, and like it was weird because like I mean I was still young but my pops, I can tell that fool was confused too. I was confused, and the fucked up thing is that after they loaded everything up, that's when my mom's was like, "Hey, you're coming with me," and I'm like,
Oh,
"What? Nah, fuck that. I'm staying with my pops." And she's like, nah, even my dad was pissed and everything, fool. So there you go, fucking 9 years old, fucking coming to Arkansas and shit. That shit was weird as fuck, bro.
that shit
Straight up.
sounds crazy.
It was crazy, fool. Like, I'm glad you say it sounds crazy because sometimes I think that it wasn't, but nah, it is.
You know what's I've done so many episodes, right? And everybody comes in here, dog, and they tell their story, and everybody has a some kind of crazy experience when they're a little kid, right? But
Yeah,
sometimes you hear people go through some real deep shit.
right.
But it's normal to our peoples.
Right. Yeah.
So many people go through similar experiences as you, whereas when you really think about it, it's fucked up.
It
Right. But
is,
we
bro.
could
Yeah.
we could reflect on it so much and everything and
Right.
and, and this stuff that might appear to you, dog, like when you're older, like that trauma might come
Right.
up as when you're a little older,
Mm-hmm.
right? But to before you move, right? Before you move to Arkansas, you're going to school in, let's say, Rancho Cucamonga, right?
Yeah.
What kind of a student were you?
Bro, I was a very quiet kid, bro. Like I minded my own business. I I used to like I have this song and I shadow box with my mind thoughts, bro. Like straight up, just like everything as a kid. It was just so like it was such a fucked up vortex of a bunch of things. You know what I mean? Just fucking me up, but at the same time, I'm trying to keep my composure. I don't know what being emotional means at this time. You know what I mean? I don't know none of that shit. So I'm pretty much just going to school, bro. You know what I mean? And I would like uh at this time I was kind of like, I kind of like punk music, you know what I mean? And I think that kind of like I got into punk music and that kind of like I don't want to say it like saved my life, but it saved a lot of thoughts. You know what I mean? It saved a lot of shit that was going on. It saved me in the moment, for a lot of things in the moment type thing where I didn't have to like think about stupid, crazy shit that my parents were going through. And you know what I mean? What I've learned, bro, having kids is that the fucked up thing is like the explaining. You know what I mean? A lot of explanation was missing, and that's the thing that fucked me up. I think was that there was no explanation for all these things. So everything was going on, and I'm just a kid, and I'm just like my brothers were older, so they understood a little bit better. But me, I was like, I didn't. I was just like stuck. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, I could. I didn't give a fuck about school. I didn't care about none of that shit. So I was like the calm, cool kid with fucked up grades.
I mean, how can you learn? You're going through some crazy shit at
Right.
home, bro. You're processing your emotions.
Yeah.
right? I think what you're trying to get at is that punk music helped you process that anger, right? At that
Yeah.
moment.
Right.
Because you hear the punk music and it kind of, has a similar energy around it, right?
Right.
Angry fools listen to punk music, and then they have that little culture and everything, and it's
Right.
a dope culture when you're going through some crazy shit, right?
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
but how can you learn? How can you learn as a kid, right? And you don't learn. You don't learn. That's the thing
Right.
people don't get. You can't learn when the more fucked up your environment is. The higher the chance that you won't be able to retain all that information.
That's
Right?
facts.
So you're this kid, you're going through all these things at home, you're confused, right? That explanation, the factor is not there.
Right.
That's probably the worst part about everything because you have a lot of questions and they remain unanswered.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, you're curious,
Right. Yeah, for
right?
sure.
You're curious when you're a little kid, and when questions go unanswered, you just kind of spend your whole day trying to create that answer, and that's where those thoughts
Yeah.
come in. Correct?
Yes, sir. Yep.
When then
Yep.
you look at entertainment. Well, besides music, what were some things you were watching, some things you were into?
That's the one thing. And real quick, like that's the one thing that I always had is observe. I would always observe. You know what I mean? So I knew what the fuck was going on. I just didn't have like that, yes, that's what's going on. You know what I mean? Like I had that click in my head, like I could see this, I could put one and two together. I know what's going on. I know I see the fuckery, but I just don't. I could see it in my own way, but I'm not seeing it in my parents' way, because there's no explanation. But hey, can I get a cigarette, please? Yeah. But yeah, nah, fuck it. Hold on. What was your question again? From my bad.
Like besides no, besides music, what else were you into?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's another thing, bro. I never fucked with television. I hated TV, bro. I hate I
Dude,
fucking bro, I hated movies. I hated all that shit. That's why like it's funny because I was like talking to my girl about this shit the other day, and I'm like, hey, I'm like dead on charisma, huh? Like I'm just so silent. Like I don't like not silently. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I'm a funny fool, but whenever I feel it, I'm not just like you have those characters where those fools are just like bing, 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 like in their head, they're just coming up with all this crazy shit, and it's like, what the fuck, this fool? You know what I mean? Like, but me, it wasn't like that. Me, I would just pop out of nowhere, and motherfuckers would be like, "What the fuck did you just say, dog?" Like just randomly, right? But yeah, I was always observant, bro, and I hated fucking television, dog. It's like it was never my thing. I always like to go outside and observe, like just see the world for what it was and what it is. And I did sit back and watch a couple movies, growing up and like TV shows and shit. I remember waking up and like one of my brothers, this fool was like big into like Dragon Ball Z. This fool would like ditch school to record this shit. But like, but me, I never really got intrigued with that shit. Like I would watch it for a little bit and like I would remember a couple scenes, when that fool Vegeta would be like Kakarot. He would, instead of calling him fucking Goku, he would call him
yeah.
Kakarot. Like what the fuck?
So you weren't into anime.
Nah, bro, I wasn't into shit, bro. Like I was just into myself, fool. Like really, like why are things going on, in the world and like deep shit, bro. Like
Introspective. You were an introspective kid.
yeah, bro. I didn't care about what was going on the television. Like I didn't care about none of that shit. I cared about what was going on. Like why is that car like I remember we lived in this apartment where it had a balcony in Hollywood and shit, and you would just see shit going on like down there. And I remember we were in the second floor, so we could see like the street, and it was like so dope. And you could just see shit going on. It was just like, what the fuck is going on there? What the fuck? You know what I mean? That's what intrigued me. Television, sitting down on the couch, never, bro. Even when I eat nowadays, like if I make dinner or my girl makes dinner, bro, like I'm standing up eating, bro. It's weird. I don't know, dog. Like it's just something that I always carried with me. I don't know. It's a trip.
And also it was a different time, back then it was just TV. Now
Mm-hmm.
you have phones, tablets, fucking
Right.
smart TVs, YouTube on TVs, streaming platforms like Netflix and
Right.
Amazon fucking move. What is it called? Amazon Video, Amazon Prime Video,
Bro,
whatever.
it's
So
oh,
there's
you
so
got all
many,
kinds of shit.
there's so many avenues where you could lose yourself in, right? Music's easier to listen to.
Yeah.
But as an introspective kid, what was what was your outlet when you're a little kid in elementary school?
Like, what do you mean by outlet?
because you know we lose
Like,
ourselves besides music. I used to lose myself in reading books.
oh, okay, okay,
You know,
okay.
stuff like that. Were you into reading? Were you into writing or
Yeah, I was like drawing and shit. I would
okay,
like draw or like play with like tech decks and shit. You know what I
okay,
mean?
okay. Yeah, skater shit.
Yeah, yeah, type shit. And then, um, yeah, skating. Yeah, skating was a big thing. I was never too good. I only like, obviously I got to. There was this one fool in this apartment complex where I lived at, the one I told you with the balcony. There was this one cool fool dog. His parents had like this cool little apartment because like his dad was like the maintenance guy, so he got like a hooked up rent and like,
Yeah, you know how it
yeah,
is, dog. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean. So this fool was cool as fuck, fool, and this fool he skated. And like one day, bro, I'm like, hey, bro, like, how the fuck do you do that shit? Like, and one day I just got on his board and I started like kind of like skating and shit. And like I ended up being like a regular. This fool was like a goofy rider or some shit. And I got to like, oh yeah, yeah, damn, like, it's crazy. I forgot about skating. Now skating was pretty huge in my life because I learned how to, I know how to ride it, and then I learned like ollie obviously, and then shove it, little kick flip here and there. But the best dope moment was back in like I think this shit was like '98, dog. Like I met that fool Anthony Van Engelen. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's like, have you ever heard of Fucking Awesome? That skateboarding brand, Fucking Awesome. But
They
anyways,
spell it FKN, right? It's not fucking.
no, they spell it. Yeah, they spell it like that. They spell it fucking awesome. Like
Oh no, I
it's
never heard of it.
yeah. So it's like a low key brand that this fool was in it. Well, anyways, bro, like this was in there's this school, elementary school called Santa Monica School right there in Hollywood. A lot of people think like, oh, Santa Monica by the pier is like, no, 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 no. It's right there.
The street too. That's what people
Yeah,
don't get it. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's like right there. You know what I mean? Yeah, they called it Santa Monica Elementary because it's on Santa Monica Street, but in Hollywood, not way the fuck over there. Um, but yeah, I met this dude, bro. This fool's so sick, bro. Like this fool pulled up in like a two-door Beamer, and like this fool was just handing out shit. And this is one thing. This is the kind of shit I lived for. This fool was like he had this he at that time he was sponsored by DC and Alien Workshop. And I remember like I pulled up to the trunk and like nothing was there that was for me. I was like, fuck, not my size of shoe, not this, not that. And then this fool was like, hey man, you know what? Since I don't have nothing for you, come back this day and I'll give you a board and I'll give you something. And I'm like, hell yeah. So I came back, fool. And this fool gave me a signature Anthony Van Engelen board, bro. And I'm like, fuck, fool. And it's crazy because I looked it up and it's on eBay and it's for like $400. But I wish I would have kept it. But being young, you
Damn. Yeah,
you
you don't
skate
care,
it,
no? Yeah.
So yeah, skating was pretty it was an outlet for me for sure. Skating. And then and we're speaking of like, right at the age of like, still like 8, 9, you know what I mean? Because I know when I turned 10 is when I was like here in Arkansas. That's why I hate to to get to that point because it's just like that
We'll
shit was
get there,
horrible.
food.
Yeah, nah, yeah, we will. But before then, all of that shit was beautiful. You know what I mean? Just seeing the culture, being outside, bro. That's what I liked, being outside. I hated TV, bro. I hated all that shit. I hated the whole concept of sitting on a couch and just fucking looking at a television. I hated that shit. I don't know why. It never intrigued me, dog. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, what's next? I'm gonna go downstairs and check out, like, kick it with my homies, my little homies and shit, and just see what's up. You know what I mean? Like, I never liked being stuck. I guess I don't know, man. It's just something that I always had as a kid, even till this day. You can probably catch me on the couch for like 20, 25 minutes, but then I'm out that bitch.
So no toys, no video game consoles, none of that.
The shit that I played with was like tech decks for a little bit. I still play with them now. But that's pretty much it, dog. Like in consoles, I remember when I think I only played like because my brother, he was a big gamer. Um One of my brothers, that fool was like a huge gamer, and that fool always had like I remember when my mom bought him like the first PlayStation, like the gray one.
PS1? Yeah.
Yeah, the PS1. Yeah, I remember that shit. And but yeah, that was pretty much it. Fool, like never really like toys and this and that. Never really like action figures. Yeah, I played with like WWF and shit. Like I remember I collected those for a little bit, but nothing. And it's crazy that I see people now, like I see the belt back there and shit, bro. That shit's crazy, fool. Like, but I admire it because it was part of like
It was
what I
bigger
remember.
back then.
Yeah,
Right? Stone Cold, The Rock, right? Undertaker.
yeah.
Fucking Triple
Undertaker,
H coming up. Kurt Angle's,
Triple H.
right? WCW, the other company,
Yeah, the Hardy Boys. I
the
remember they
Hardy
came out of
Boys. Yeah,
like
everybody was a legend back then. That's from
yeah.
what I heard. Right? I don't really remember those times. I was born in '95, so
Mm.
by 2000, I'm 5 years old. You know, I don't
Yeah,
really remember shit like that.
so it's crazy. It's crazy how you said that. Yeah. Onto like 2000s is when I felt like I was actually like living life
Mm.
type thing. You know what I mean? Because 2000, it was around the time when I came back. I came back to LA so I left in like 99 or 2000 or some shit like that. I came to Arkansas and I left in like after the Twin Towers, like late 2001 or some shit like that. Like when it was about to be 2002 is when I remember my aunt came to visit and I'm like, hey, I'm going with you guys. My mom said it was cool, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. So I went back, dog, and I went back to the West Coast, and it's crazy because I landed in Pomona first. So I lived with my aunt for a little bit, and now I'll go to LA with my dad, and he would like scoop me up or whatever, and then I went to middle school. I went to eighth grade in Pomona, and then ninth grade, and then 10th grade I went to Hollywood High.
Before we get into your high school days, right? You're in Arkansas. Is your what is it, fifth grade?
Sixth grade,
So fifth grade, you're still in
Pinewood,
Hollywood.
yeah, yeah, Hollywood, pretty much, yeah,
Then you go to Arkansas. Now you're in middle school over there.
yeah,
What
bro,
was that like?
big change.
What was that like? Talk about the environment, right? The culture shock. What was that
so I
like?
so I pull up and it's crazy, bro. Like I remember my mom was renting this house with her boyfriend. We pull up, bro, and it's like raining. It's raining. It feels very like the whole perspective of damn, this shit is whack as fuck. You know what I mean? Like the weather was fucking whack. Everything like was just so lonely. Everything was fucking. Mind you, this city now is called Springdale. This city is fucking booming, dog. It's so many rata, bro. When I first landed here, there was barely any raza. The middle school was a trip because you're gonna trip out on this shit. Obviously, everybody knows about Tyson Foods, right? Like Tyson Chicken and like so. The middle school that I went to, dog, was named after the wife of the main Tyson dude.
No
So it was
shit.
it, it was called Helen Tyson Middle School. So the reason why they named it that was because this school was built on a chicken farm, like from like the 60s. Mind you, bro, you can even I'm sure pretty sure you've probably seen some reels about this kid. I went to school with him too. His name is John Tyson. This fool, he's gotten into some trouble out here, but because this was like the CFO of Tyson. But I went to school with that fool, dog, and this fool was pampered as fuck, dog. Like it was a trip. It was crazy to see that shit. The you go from seeing a bunch of raza to like coming here, and then you just see like just a bunch.
Everybody else.
Yeah, bro, straight
Yeah.
up. The lingo changes. It ain't like, hey, fool, what's up anymore. It's like, hey, y'all, and like, you know what I mean? That kind of shit. Which there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? It was just a culture shock, bro, like beyond.
What is
And
Arkansas considered the Midwest, right? Is it the
yeah,
Midwest?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like middle America.
The Midwest, because I lived in Ohio, right? But I lived
I
there when I
remember,
was a
yeah.
little older.
Right.
I'm trying to think, early 2000s Arkansas. What the fuck? That's 99, right? 99, 2000
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Yep.
Oof. That's a little different, right? This is
Oh,
the turn of the millennium. Technology booms, right? Now it's just booming.
yeah.
What kind of stuff are you into, right? Are you still listening to punk music or now you're getting into hip hop?
Yeah, I got deep. Well, yeah, and now I'm bringing like the woo, you know what I mean? And I'm bumping the woo and shit. And I got into the woo because of my brother, like being in Hollywood before I moved over here. This fool he did like this in his he was in high school already. So in woodshop, he did a fucking the Wu-Tang
Oh, that's
uh
dope.
yeah, so he did the fucking Wu-Tang logo. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And then that's when he yeah, and then that's when he showed me the fucking 36 chambers. And I was like, yo, this shit is crazy. Cause remember back in the days, fool, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, you would always hear like Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know what I mean? Dream of California nation. You know what I mean? So
It's because you know what it was, bro. Out here in the West Coast, besides Dre and Exhibit was slowly starting to pop off, and West Side
Hmm.
Connection.
Right.
It wasn't at that point. I'm trying to think, like the South was finally coming into fruition, right? Eminem's the biggest star in the game at this point, right?
Right.
And but New York, is slowly creeping back into the scene. So
Yeah.
it's a lot more. It's not just the West Coast anymore, right? Because I remember at some
Right.
point in the '90s, it was all West Coast, right? And then New York, West Coast,
Yeah.
and some I don't know what the hell happened. Because I remember a lot of the radio stations they used to push that, like, oh, you got to listen. I forgot what is it, 90, what 102 point some. I forgot what the fuck the radio stations out here. But
Right.
it was a
Yeah. I
lot
don't
of that
know.
rock. A lot of the commercials were using that kind of like rock, the nostalgic rock and everything. So I get what you're trying to say. Yeah, it was that fucking the Red Hot Chili Peppers is right, like the perfect way to describe
Yeah.
a certain vibe in the early fucking 2000s, late 90s. From I
Yeah.
remember that too a little bit, but I clearly remember listening to that shit all the time in the radio stations and the stores, right? You go to the stores and that's all
Oh
they're
yeah.
playing.
Yep.
Nobody's playing hip hop in the stores way. Like it's either Spanish shit, right?
Hmm.
Like fucking cumbias, corridos, or that like norteñas and shit, or is the fucking rock.
Right.
But so, whew,
And it was the
whew,
old like corridos, bro, like the fucking, the
yeah,
mecca of corridos. It wasn't like nowadays, corridos tumbados and all that shit, which is dope, but it's just like it was
it's
just
different.
different, different
Yeah.
for sure.
So you listening to Woo? What kind of other what other
Bro,
kind of fools you listening to?
so when I came down here, I started really getting into like MTV, how they used to have like music videos at nighttime.
Yeah,
So I would like stay up, bro, like just watching music videos, bro. Like, um, but yeah, like it was mainly, bro, it was like mainly like alternative rock at that time. I toned it down on the punk shit, and like I just started getting into like Nirvana was something huge that I got into, like in 2000, the Ramones, shit like that. And but rap, like obviously, like I remember 50 Cent was like something huge because like that club song that he has, it's your birthday. We'll party like it's your
uh,
birthday. I remember that shit, but I always dressed like with like chucks, and I remember my dad used to sew my pants, bro. So I would wear like hella tight pants, and like people would be confused here. You know what I mean? They'd be like, "What the fuck? Like, why is this fool rocking?" And it's a trip, bro. You know what's so crazy? Like, I met my homie. His name is Mario, bro, and he's got this brand. It's called Escobar. Shouts out to that fool, bro. I met this fool here. Trip out on this shit, bro. I met him here, right? He became my best friend in middle school, and bro, he's still the homie till this day. Like we're in the same crew and everything. It's a trip, bro. Like I introduced him to all the homies. Like I remember when I met him, this was like middle school, right? Then I came back to visit and I seen him again. I linked up with him and he was like, this is like 2007. And he was like, yo, bro, I'm gonna go back to LA. This fool moved back to LA in 2008. And I get him connected with the homies, bro, and he just clicks. And it's crazy because he actually lives with one of my main homies from the crew that I grew up with, that his mom took care of me. And like it's crazy how like everything comes full circle. You
that's
know,
that's dope. That's fucking dope.
yeah, in Arkansas, fool out of nowhere, like met this fool from LA and shit. Like this fool was
Also,
listening to,
He had moved to Arkansas too.
yeah, his mom moved here to Arkansas.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's dope. That's fucking that's destiny right there, homie.
bro, real shit. Yeah, me and this fool are super tight till this day. Like homie shit. You know what I mean? Like from since we were like fucking 10 years old, dog. Like
Yeah,
talking about punk music, talking about all this shit, like rocking chucks, sharing each other's chucks and
real
shit.
homie shit. Like real homie, not superficial homie shit. Like fools
Mm-hmm.
know secrets about each other type shit.
Right. And the
What
dope thing is, fool, that mind you, bro, in middle school here, fool, everybody, fool, was rocking Abercrombie, dog. Everybody, bro. We were like the only fools rocking Dickies and shit.
LA shit.
Yeah, like LA shit, fool. You know what I mean? It's a good experience, bro.
It's said Abercrombie. That's funny.
Yeah, bro. That shit was huge here.
What kind of student were you in middle school? Because now it's the confusion is next level, dog. Like it's next level.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah. So like when I first came here, right, I was like kind of like, like I was still filling it out. I was kind of like confused. I was still like everything kind of like, it's the time where you're starting to change and feel a little bit different. And I was just like, normal. And then like I feel like seventh grade here, I went to seventh grade for a little bit before I went back to LA. And seventh grade was like the time, bro, where I just fucking went like on some anarchy shit, dog. Started listening to the Sex Pistols, you know what I mean? Like started like just going ham again. That's when I met in seventh grade is when I met my homie, that dude I'm talking to you about, Mario. And it was just hectic, bro. Like I started not giving a fuck. I let my hair grow. I ended up getting like some dreadlocks, and like it's crazy because the fools that I went to like sixth grade with, like in the same middle school, they kind of tripped out. They were like, damn, like this food changed. Like, like all the preppy
Yeah.
fools and shit. Like they were like, damn, this because I used to just dress normal, like kind of casual and shit. But then like because I had left like the punk shit alone and I just got to like some alternative smooth music, but then like still kind of dressed punk, but not really, more like chill. And then yeah, seventh grade was just like, yo, fuck everything, homie.
Maxed
Like,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
maxed out. Like, your very emotions are starting to come in. You're just like, fuck everything. Fuck it, fuck all you
Mad at the
motherfuckers.
world, teenager, dog. That's how it is. Yeah.
What I mean, yeah, that shit was dope though, man. I still remember that shit was some classic ass fucking memories, dog. If I could go back, I'll probably go back for a day for sure.
So I'm guessing your grades were fucking tanked. Seventh grade, last semester in Arkansas. Ooh.
Bro, all my grades through fucking school was shit. Just because I knew, bro, one thing my pops told me, and I think I shouldn't have ran with it. I was in it was before, it was before I moved with my mom here. This was like I think I was like in fourth grade. And like my pops was like, he was like so good at math. And like every time he would try to explain to me, like, look, this is how you do it, whatever, whatever. That shit just flew over my mind. I didn't give a fuck. And one day, one thing stuck to me, fool, that he told me. He's like, man, he's like, you don't need this shit. He's like, there's knowledge way beyond this shit. All this shit right now that you're doing right here in school is bullshit. But you got to do it. And that shit just stuck to me, and I was like, hold on, what do you mean that I don't need it? I don't need this shit. What do you mean that I don't need school? You know what I mean? Like, what is that? It's like a question mark. Like, what is that? And that always stuck to me. And now I understand why he said that you don't need that shit. And it's just like, holy fuck. So after that, I stopped giving even more fucks. You know what
He validated your
less,
anger and shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
like less fucks. I started giving less fucks. That's what I meant to say. And he did validate that shit, bro. And I was just like, yo, you know what? Fuck school, bro. I'm just gonna surf through this shit because I gotta be here. But in all reality, like uh I started realizing shit. Like I was just like, yo, bro, yeah, like, dude, all this shit is just like a gimmick. Like this shit was put here in society. And when I learned that this shit was put here in society is when I started reading the Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz.
Don Miguel Ruiz. Yeah, that's a dope
Yeah,
book.
that shit. I was like, wow, doggy. And I read that shit way later on. I kind of skipped a couple, a couple of years, but yeah, no, that's pretty much what it was. It was like the start of my and then I met another homie. Shouts out to the homie Jeremy. I still actually have contact with him here, bro. It's crazy. This fool was like on some punk shit too. It's crazy because this fool, like, I was kind of like low key dodging shit, but this fool was the type of white dude to get fucking like locked up in juvie for like pills and shit like that at this age.
Rowdy shit on middle school type shit.
Rowdy shit, fool. Like this fool, I remember this fool did like a bid for like fucking 6 months, bro. And he's like, I remember we were young, we were like 10 years old, 11 years old, still here in Arkansas. And I went to middle school with him and everything. And me and him had like a fro at the same time. We are kind of like twins, but I was like the brown homie and he was like the white homie.
Well,
But
Weddles
yeah,
in the Midwest are next level rowdy, dog.
and bro, this fool, and that's what I'm saying. This fool didn't give a fuck, fool, and that's why I loved him, bro. And I still kick it with him. Like it's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, no, it was some next level shit. Like I remember this fool, he was a cutter too, man. It's a trip, like, because he went through some shit too. And I remember we would put I forgot what song it was from Nirvana, but there's a part where he's like, cut yourself, and the fool start cutting himself, bro.
Oh shit!
Yeah, bro.
In front of you or what?
Yeah, bro. Like,
Oh hell, that's traumatizing, dog.
bro, like I'm telling you, but I seen it in a way where it was just like, yeah, this was
You get
wild,
it?
bro.
Oh, you get
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because it wasn't no emotional shit. It wasn't crying. It was just like, oh, like, you know what I mean?
Fuck
That's
it,
like,
huh? Fuck the world.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
fucking hurt myself and shit.
yeah, bro. And it was just like, but see, me, I always like to observe. Like I told you, I was never a dumbass to just like jump in and do it. You know what I mean? I always observed and seen like, do I want that kind of pain? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It looks cool because I know I am kind of hurt inside, but do I want to do that? Nah, I'm good. I'll just watch it from here, like type shit. But yeah, bro, shit's fucking ill.
You said you moved back to LA in seventh grade, but before we do that, what about a life in Arkansas during this time? Because you said there was nothing
Nothing,
back then.
doggy.
What the fuck were you doing for fun? I mean, obviously you don't like TV, right? That's still the same thing.
Right. Isn't yeah, yeah. At the same time, the only thing I'm watching now is like just MTV, bro, like videos, like the
Music
yeah,
related. Shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
music shit, just like Nirvana shit, fucking the it's just like a bunch of Ramones. They would play a lot of cool classic shit, not like today nowadays. There's no even MTV anymore type shit, But well, they might be, but not like the MTV that was like in the 2000s or like late 90s. But I started playing drums, bro.
Oh, damn. That's cool.
Yeah, I started playing.
That's dope.
I tried to pick up the guitar while I was here in Arkansas going to school. I got into like, I was like, bro, like I need to get into some like I want music, bro. And like my mom was like always like, kind of like I got into a little bit into BMX too. Like after I left skateboarding, like I was kind of like into BMX and like shit like that. I remember she bought me like a Haro bike, which was dope. Because I remember, fuck, I forgot this fool's name, but there was like I think he passed away too, bro, because of fucking overdose or something like that. But there was this biker dude, his name was like David some shit. I forgot, but I'm not into that shit no more. So like, I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like fucking oblivious to that shit. But anyways, fucking, I got into BMX a little bit, and then I got into like drumming, dog. I started drumming and shit. I remember my mom bought me like this snare, and I just started practicing on the snare, practicing on the snare. She was like, she bought me that bike. That shit was like $300. I remember that was like the fucking first investment I ever seen her do, towards me or whatever. And that was kind of cool. But then I wanted a drum set, and she was like, nah, nah, es que vos no lo cuidas, and shit. Like, I'm like, fuck, bro.
Oh shit. The
So
classic fears and shit. Yeah.
yeah, bro. So I was hella pissed. So like I was just ready to come to LA, fool, because I talked to my dad about it, and he's like, yeah, whatever, whatever. If you want to do that, that's dope. And when I moved, like, oh yeah, but anyways, before that, fucking shouts out to my pops, bro. That fool always looked out for me. I remember this fool, he would because him and my mom worked something out, right, where he didn't have to like pay child support through the government. So like he would always send me personally like $300, bro, like every month, like $300. And I thought that shit was like wavy. Mind you, bro, in the 2000s, $300
That's a lot of feria, dog.
yeah, bro. That's why I give up to my pops, fool, because like this fool, he never pampered me, but he always like kind of like, try to like help me out in some way. You know what I mean? And
Just
he
when
always,
chips are still 99 cents. We put it like
oh,
that. You
bro,
know what I'm
bro,
saying?
dead ass. Fool, I remember,
You will
my,
go to the store with $5 and come out with the whole store.
yeah, dead
You go
ass,
in there
bro.
with $5, you come out with one bag of chips now, dog.
Straight up.
Can't buy a drink, fool. It doesn't add up anymore. That's sad.
Fucking drink is like $3, bro. It's
It's
just
food
crazy.
sad now, dog. Can't go in there. You could only buy one or the other, dog. One or the other. Ain't no double walking out with two shits.
Fool, straight up. Fool, I was in LA last August, fool. And I remember fucking my homie told me that they banned menthol cigarettes because I usually drink when I drink I'll like smoke like some cigarettes or whatever. And I went over there on the fly. I'm gonna tell you this shit. And bro, like a fucking pack of menthols was like 20 something dollars. I was like, fuck that shit. I was like, what the fuck? Here in Arkansas, they're only like $10 because I smoke American spirits. And I tried to get some over there. I couldn't find them. So I tried to get some like fucking camel. Hell nah, bro. Fucking 20 something. That shit was wild. But yeah, bro. Um, yeah, it's a crazy as experience, man, as a kid, bro. Like, and the trippy part is like I'm kind of over that kind of part, but like there's still a lot of shit that you still get stuck in, kind of. Like the last time I talked to you, remember it was like what, like a year ago, maybe? And I
Probably
was
two
actually
years ago. Yeah.
yeah, bro. Yeah, exactly. Bro, I was like, I didn't seem like it, but I was kind of doing bad, bro. Like I'm doing better now though, man. Like it's some crazy shit. The last time I talked to you, I was like fucking heavy into drinking, dog. Like I know it didn't seem like it, but I was fucking like drinking every motherfucking day, dog. Like, like straight up. But yeah, man.
Manifestations of childhood, dog. The anger. Woo.
Yeah, bro. And that's the thing is like, it's learning to unlearn, bro. Like all
People
these
think people
thoughts.
think we're crazy, but nah, that's literally how it works. You know, shit you had
Right,
repressed as a kid pops up when you're an adult, and then fucking
bro.
20 modelos later, dog. You fucking.
And you know what's crazy, bro? I've never been that kind of drinker though, man. I've never been a type of drinker to rage. I've always been a type of bro. I rage when I'm sober. Like when I'm drinking, I just feel
Oh,
like in awe. You know what I mean? I've never been the type of person to like get pissed and start breaking shit and start like thinking about my mom or my dad and their problems. Never that, bro. Like it's always been drinking has always took me to a place where I'm just like floating, you know what I mean? And
so it's al
it's
revés. It's the other way around.
yeah, because I ran into a lot of people where they get pissed and it's like, how did that even happen, my boy? Or like, you know, I don't get it, fool, because I can be conscious, fool, bro. I can drink with you all night, bro, and I'll still be like, okay, I'm gonna be fucked up, but if somebody sober sees me, they'll be, oh, this was fine, you know what I mean, type shit.
We'll get into sobriety and drinking down the line in the story, right? But now you moved to LA. Your second semester, seventh grade. This was what 2005, 2004, 2005.
Yeah, 2004. Yeah, 2004, around the
Okay,
mid.
so
Yeah,
so now what is your life like? Where do you go to middle school out here?
it's trippy, bro. I went to so remember I told you I went back to Pomona.
Okay,
That,
okay,
bro.
yeah.
So the journey back was like, yeah, you know what I mean. In my head, in my soul, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going back to Cali, bitch. You know what I mean? Type shit. Like, fuck all this shit. Like, fuck all this shit. Dealing with my mom and like, cause my mom was harsh, bro. Mind you, she was like in her 30s probably at this time, and she smoked cigarettes. It was like way before she's like hella Christian now, whatever. But like it was she would smoke cigarettes, get fucked up every weekend with her boyfriend and shit. But when she had to work and provide, right? But anyways, aunt comes through. I moved back and fucking I she signs me up for eighth grade in Pomona, bro. I land in Pomona, California, dog. And which is like what, like 35 minutes, 40 minutes. I mean, that was back then, but I don't know how the drive is now. It's probably shitty, but but moved to Pomona, dog, and the vibe. I've always been in tune with Pomona, but not this way. You know what I mean? I'm going to school now here. I would always go visit, but I never went to school there, and it's a whole different fucking trip, dog. So, mind you, I was already smoking weed, and weed was
That's
fuck.
right.
Yeah, bro. Shout out to my homie Albert, bro. Another Albert. This fool came from Iowa. Oh fuck! Damn, I forgot about this fool. Dog. Me and him were like super into Slipknot at this time too. But while I'm living in Arkansas, this fool came from Iowa. I met him in fucking seventh grade, dog. When I was on some fuck anarchy, and this was the one that introduced me to Bud, fool. Like this fool had like a little foil pipe. And fucking bro, after that, I was like,
Damn,
yo.
foil pipe. That is wild, dog. That
Dead
is
ass.
fucking wild, dog. Fools don't know about that one right there.
Nah, bro. This food had like a little foil pipe, dog. And then we go like over there by his mom's car in the tire, like outside her crib, like in Arkansas. And this was like, hit this shit, food. Trust me, bro. Like this shit is the bomb shit. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. Hit that shit, bro. Holy fuck, bro. I think weed helped me with my problems a lot at that time, for sure. And my mom never knew it, dog. And like smoking, imagine smoking at 11, 12 years old, but like never on some shit where like that's just what nowadays you see people that's what they're all about. They have like the little kit and everything. And nah, I was never like that. I just smoked weed and was like, all right, cool, this is dope. I'm gonna get high as fuck and cool, keep it moving, whatever. But anyways, yeah, I got into some weed. Anyways, when I moved to Pomona, I just wanted to go back and reflect on that. Shout out to the homie Albert. I don't know where the fuck he's at. I haven't had contact with him in a minute. But anyways, fucking moved back to Pomona, dog, and I'm smoking weed still. I remember there's a lot of weed going around, like in this fucking in this mid.
Cali,
Well,
homie.
yeah, this was a junior high now. You know what I mean? It's like junior high, and I think it was like seventh and eighth grade or some shit like that in Pomona. Everywhere is weird. You know what I mean? How the grades go or whatever, or in a school or whatever. Anyways, we'll pull up, going to school here. I get into fucking punk rock again, bro. Like heavy, like no effects and fucking Chaos UK is like a deeper fucking goddamn like nasty punk and shit. Fucking Rancid, obviously. But I get there, bro, and it's just the same thing again, bro. Like one thing one thing that I've noticed, bro, is just the vibes are just so different from Arkansas and then coming back to Pomona in LA. It was just let me put it this way, like moving around not a lot but a lot as a kid was the trippy part. The cool part was that I can still like go somewhere, and if I see some food, like today at Walmart, fool, I ran into some fool that went to fucking middle school that was good friends with that buddy Jeremy I'm telling you about, and his name is John, and I just seen him in fucking Walmart. He's like, yeah, bro, I remember you and shit, like this and that, whatever. We chopped it up,
Yeah.
so that's the cool part. You know what I mean?
Community.
Yeah, yeah, like remembering and shit. Like, because if I would have just came fucking to Arkansas at like my late 20s, I would know nobody. You know what I mean? Unless I got together with like this punk band that I'm in now and like met them friends, their friends, and their friends, whatever, whatever. But that's one cool thing. But the fucked up part is just like I'm telling you, the explanation was never there. So you're just kind of lost in the sauce and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? But so when I land in Pomona, mind you, I come back from humble beginnings because Arkansas was humble beginnings. I didn't go to high school, or I mean, middle school in LA, dog. You know what I mean? I went to middle school in Arkansas. So you go from elementary is kind of hectic. You can see the beginning of these young kids. Oh, that fool might be a killer, or that fool might be a graphiter, or that fool might be a drinker, or that fool, you know what I mean? That kind of shit. To in Arkansas, everybody's like more on some like everything. You don't have social media, you don't have none of that. So everybody's still growing just with each other. So I get back to Pomona, bro, and it's still kind of like that. And then out of nowhere, well, this is before MySpace, like MySpace still didn't even exist whenever I got back to Pomona. But the networking there is a lot different. It's a lot fucking different. Fools that were like, I would have never seen this shit in Arkansas. You know what I mean? But like now I come back to something new. And it's like, holy fuck, you got these fools coming to school with Bud, and they're like, hey, fool, you want some Bud? And then you got PE. In Arkansas, in middle school, you don't have PE or none of that shit. In middle school in LA, you do have PE and all that shit. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of different shit. Like it was weird. I'm talking about the type of PE when you change. You put your little sweats on, your
The
shirt on.
uniform and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? In Arkansas, in middle school, you don't have that. You go to PE, but you don't dress up or nothing. And anyways, fucking yeah, bro, the whole vibe is completely different. Started getting into graffiti. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty crazy. Start getting into like, now I'm starting to feel myself. I'm like, holy shit, bro, I'm back in the land where I needed to be at. Like, this is me. I want to see this shit. I want to see chaos. I want to see, you know what I mean? I don't want to see chicken farms, dog. You know what I mean?
You're in the land of anarchy, dog. That's where you're at. Fool. We're in the rowdy state, rowdy land, dog. You're in the
Yeah,
trenches again, fool. This
the
is the
fucking
part of the world,
rowdy chaos, bro. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
next level shit out here. So
Next level.
you're maxed out in Arkansas with the anarchy shit, but then you move, and even if it's Pomona, fool, like this shit was still active. I'm pretty sure it was active in Pomona at that time still. I don't know how it is now, but I'm pretty sure it was up there.
It was active, but it was still, I'm gonna say this, bro. I didn't start seeing crazy shit until I got into high school in Pomona. But in middle school, it was still kind of
It was
like
brewing.
a suburb, yeah, like a suburb that was wild. You know what I mean? But it wasn't the city yet. It wasn't like LA. LA was fucking wild and from the get.
Hasn't changed.
Like LA, because Pomona is supposedly LA County, but it's like the end of LA County.
Simone Way, yeah. It's like one of the
It's
last cities in the county.
right, right. It's not the city, whatever. But yeah, bro, completely fucking crazy ass change. But I adapted, man, and I'm pretty good at adapting. Like I remember, it ain't where you at, it's where it ain't where you're from, is where you at. And I always kind of like ran with that. I always try to adapt with that kind of shit, and I always did pretty good. You know what I mean? Because like I said, bro, like I feel like from the beginning, being young and observing, I think that's what helped me observe and learn how to like talk to certain people. Because that's just what it is. It's like learning how to talk to certain people. Like you don't have to, bro. I was friends with like preppy motherfuckers, bro. Like preppy kids that invited me to like these nice little like,
Like
kids that were like
family
fucking,
parties? Yeah.
yeah, bro. Like straight up, like and it's like fuck. I live in this shitty ass little house that my mom's renting, and then I go to this homie's crib, and it's like, whoa, what the fuck? What is this shit? You know what I mean? Coming from an apartment in LA, then over here to a shitty house, better than LA though. But then I go to a little party with my friend that invited me because he thought my vibe was cool. And holy shit, this is a whole different lifestyle. paintballing, bro. I went paintballing for the first time being in Arkansas. Like, bro, like that's what I'm saying. Like the it was very genuine. Now you see a little bit of everything here in Arkansas, bro. You see killings, you see all kinds of shit. But at that time, it was like very humble, very humble.
It was community, small Midwest town. That didn't
Mm-hmm.
even feel like a city. It was a town. You
Yeah,
feel me? A little small downtown in one street, right? Type shit.
type shit, bro.
Yeah.
Very, very small, very baby, like very, you know what I mean? Nothing going
Local,
on.
small.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I know
yeah,
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, and it's cool to see though because like in LA, I would have never thought I would see some crazy historic little fucking downtown. Like this is your downtown. What the fuck? No skyscrapers, just old fucking rock buildings. That's crazy, bro. You know?
Well, the tallest buildings out there and like those types of spots are probably like 2, 3 floors, fool.
Straight up,
Straight the
straight up,
fuck up, dog. It's probably
straight up.
2 floors. Three is like pushing it way.
Yep,
You know, I mean, besides the apartments, but you know, like a city building is probably like 2, 3 floors, and that's it. Way that's literally it.
that's it.
Downtown is one street, shops all along that one street,
Right.
community events. Everybody shows up. Everybody knows each other. Everybody knows the fool at the gas station, and it's all local, right? So you go Hollywood, Arkansas, culture shock. Back to fucking Pomona, another culture shock, kind of, but still a
Right.
culture shock, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy because I one of the janitors was like one of my so like mind you, I have two older brothers and a sister, and one of my older brother, I mean they're both older, right? But anyways, one of my older brothers went to school in Pomona because when shit was going on, you know what I mean? Different dads. My dad raised these fools. Mind you, I'm the only child from my dad. And well, me and my sister are from my dad, but my two older brothers are from like when my mom was like fucking running from Honduras and shit. So one of my older brothers, he ended up moving to Pomona like young, and he went to school there and everything. So like one of the janitors went to school with one of my brothers, bro. It was a trip.
Oh
So
shit.
he kind of knew me. Yeah, he had like long hair. This fool was cool as fuck, bro. Like did graffiti, all that shit. And like once I told him that, because I seen him roll up to my aunt's house, and I was like, holy fuck. I told my brother, I was like, hey, fool, that fool's a janitor at that fucking junior high that I go to. And he was like, yeah, fool, that's the homie. And once this fool knew that I was this fool's little brother, bro, like at school, because he was like a dick to me, fool, like low key, because I was like just like this, not giving a fuck, like fuck you, janitor type shit. But then when he seen me and then going back to school, he was always cool with me after that. He was like, hey, what's up, my boy? What's up, fool? Like, what's up, younger, youngster, whatever. And
Looking out for you, though. Yeah, that's dope. That's
yeah,
dope. That's
yeah,
fucking dope.
yeah,
That's funny.
type shit. Yeah, but yeah, bro, that's where the madness was still going on, bro. Because mind you, I didn't have my mom with me and I didn't have my dad. My dad was like 40 minutes away, right? Which was dope. And my mom was far away. I didn't have my parents. I only had my aunt and then her kids, which were my cousins and shit, which was dope. But it was just a lot of pain that I didn't really understand and shit. Like a lot of like hatred too towards my own kind, like just like mad at the world type shit, and then when you're in junior high, then the girlfriends start to come around and like, you know what I mean? I got a little
That whole
girlfriend.
that whole other like lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was pretty trippy. It was trippy, man. I had a girlfriend that came through one day, and then my uncle, like that was Salvadorian, and and that fool, I remember he opened the garage and like I'm over there like doing my thing with my girlfriend at the time. That shit was so trippy. She was like a punk chick too. Yeah, for crazy, crazy memories. Like, things are starting to evolve at this time. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
bro. Yeah,
Then
it was,
you
it was.
where do you go to high school then?
So, all right. So, they do this little whack ass graduation and shit. In this junior high, we go to graduation with all like my cousin's friends, female friends, male friends, whatever. And mind you, my sister is living with me in Pomona at this time. She was in high school already though. And that was pretty dope that at least I had her, you know what I mean? And fucking go to high school, bro. And freshman year landed in high school. And bro, that shit was dope. I feel like that was like when I was like fucking piping out. Like I was like already pretty good at drums. I started meeting people and shit that were in the punk community, fucking got into a punk band and shit, and started doing that. And then, bro, I remember like the most fucking this is crazy, bro. When I was a freshman, this one fucking like senior hot fucking chick, bro, was just like on my nuts. And it was crazy. I was just like, what the fuck, bro? She was sexy. Her name was Anioka. And my sister was even like, damn, how did you pull that type shit? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't know. She just came to me, whatever, whatever. But yeah, that was dope, bro. That was like so I went, the first high school I went to was in Pomona. So
What was the name of it?
it was a Gary High School, bro.
Oh, for sure. Gary
Yeah,
High School. I don't
Gary
know
High
what it is,
School.
but just for the listener, let it be known, you know?
Yeah, no, Gary
For
High
sure,
School,
for
bro.
sure.
Yeah, Gary High School was dope as fuck. That shit was like right there. The reason why it's called Gary High School is because Gary Street runs right there, like on that fucking road where that school is at or whatever.
For sure.
But yeah, bro, land right there. You know what I mean? My sister has a couple homies too. She ends up being in a band and shit. So we start going to fucking backyard shows. Everything just starts to evolve, bro, on some crazy shit.
Clicking, right? Fucking street shit. Huh?
Oh, bro. You know, everything. Graffiti is flourishing for me. Like I'm like getting into that shit, getting fucking I'm lying to my aunt that I'm gonna go stay with my dad in LA. I'm about to catch the bus, but I just stay like the whole night in Pomona just mobbing. You know what I mean? I fucking hit up a couple homies. Mind you, at this time, we got the flip phones, dog. You know, MySpace starts to come around, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, bro. All this shit starts to like just evolve while like I'm just like trying to explore. And this is what I always loved. You know what I mean? Like I told you, I was never a couch potato. Like I was just like, that's why at the same token, all this shit was beautiful because like I didn't have my mom, I didn't have my dad, but I had my aunt, right? That she was like my mom's twin sister. She looked like my mom. She was like my guidance or whatever at that time. Not even my guidance. She was the person that took care of me or whatever. But I remember I would just tell my pops, like, hey pops, I'm fucking, I'm gonna kick it right here with my homie and shit. Like I told my aunt that I was gonna go with you, so don't tell her that, like I'm over here with my homie, whatever. And the fool was always down. He's like, yeah, for sure. Just take care of yourself, fool. And yeah, the flip phones were up and running at this point, bro. It was dope, man. It was like, shouts out to those fools from organized crime, man. It was an organized crime, dog. You know what I mean? At that time.
If you're listening, we're gonna split his music journey, your music journey, and your graffiti journey, dog, for a different episode.
For sure.
Right? Because I know people got a lot of questions. They want to hear your stories about your graffiti. I want to hear your stories about your graffiti and your music and all that.
Most definitely.
But besides that, in high school, what kind of what kind of other music you listening to? Are you listening to more like modern hip hop at this point, or is it still strictly underground punk, fucking alternative shit like that, or not?
So I start getting into, like, I guess you can call it more raw hip hop, right? Because I was already into the woo, but that was just like already in the back burner, it's the woo, whatever. But I started getting into like typical cats. Start getting into like Tribe Called Quest. Start getting into like Tumex, you know what I mean? Visionaries. Fucking
LA underground, old school 90s hip hop.
Yeah. Jedi Mind Tricks. You know what I mean? Shit like that. Start to open up my gallery of music and trip the fuck out on this shit, dog. Oh my god, bro. Shouts out to this motherfucker. I wish I knew where the fuck he was at, bro. The fucking homie, he was like an assistant for one of my teachers. His name was Guerra, bro. This fool was a hip hop head, fool, like to the fucking T, dog. This motherfucker in high school is crazy, bro. Like he picked up, from what I've heard, he picked up me and this other fool, but from what I've heard is like, rest in peace to the homie Brewer. There was this one cat, bro. It's crazy because like at this point is what we talked about earlier, right? When everybody had their own stilo. You didn't have social media where you can jock a stilo from. None of that. Everybody had their own motherfucking stilo. You either had tight pants, and at that time they were either sold or you didn't see them at all. Skinny jeans did not exist at this time, bro. So I was a fucking punk kid with fucking white chucks and some tight pants that my dad sewed up for me, or either my sister sewed up for her, like for me or whatever, or I sewed them up, whatever. And this fool was like a thugged out looking ass fool, graffiti writer looking, baggy clothes. Brewer, man, rest in peace. But me and this fool, bro, like I remember fucking Guerra, he was like an assistant at this time. He was probably like in his mid-20s. And bro, one day he's like, hey man, like he's like, Brewer, right? I'm like, yeah, that's the homie. And he was like, hey man, I want to take you and Brewer to a hip hop show, but I want to make it like a cool little thing. Like if I don't know if your parents are cool with it. And I was like, well, I live with my aunt. He was like, no, well, if I can talk to her, like everything, you know, I'll pick you up and I'll pick him up, and then we can come to my apartment, bump some music. And bro, fucking hey, the shit is so crazy. That was one of like, you know, if I would have stayed in Arkansas, I would have never experienced that, fool. So, anyways, this fool like scoops me up, whatever. This was that type of hip hop head fool that has sage on him, right?
One of those fools and shit.
Yeah, bro. Like I'm telling you, like deep into the hip hop fool. Like when he picks me up, the fool burns some sage and shit, and he's just like blowing it all over his Corolla and shit. And he's just like bam, 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 whatever. And then we go and pick up Brewer, and then we go to his apartment, fool. And then you know he's got like a fucking like his roommate, whatever, bro. And this was like, he's like, hey, fools, like if you fools can handle your shit, like I'll hook you fools up, but like let's keep it a cool day. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. This fool like he's like, all right, and he hands us like a fucking Corona, bro. And we just like we're like, hell yeah. We start sipping a little bit, you know, me and Brewer. Like at this time, I was like, I used to buy like those in Hollywood, there was like this little Chinese donut shop food where they sold like three cigarettes for like a quarter. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so like there was like the spot in Pomona too. So like I like, you know what I mean? Like I would smoke every once. So like I had a couple cigarettes on me. So like I mean if we just start sipping and we're like, you know, smoking a cigarette, and this would like hands us a blunt, bro. We're like smoking a blunt, bro. Like pretty much at this time in this era, we didn't call it pregame, but that's what was going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Getting ready to go out. Yeah.
Yeah, because he told us like yeah, we're gonna go to a hip hop show, and so there's like this dope ass. I don't know if it's still there or not, bro. But there's 2nd Street. I'm pretty sure, bro. You've heard of the Glass House.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
a lot of foods perform in the Glass House, even rappers, like even low key rappers. The Glass House in Pomona is 2nd Street, bro. Anyways, we pull up, bro. Whatever. We smoke a blunt like before pulling up, and fucking bro, like I'm fucking high as fuck, bro. And then pretty much what I'm trying to say, bro, is that this fool took me to my first motherfucking Visionaries concert, bro. Like, and it's crazy because it was in a graffiti shop called the Globe. At that time, it was called the Globe, and then they switched it to GCS. And I think the only GCS that exists now is in fuck, I forgot. It was something Santa something, bro.
Santa Cruz.
Where I think so, or some shit like that, or like
there's so many Santa over here. The Santa Monica, Santa Ana, Santa Cruz.
Oh, Santa Ana in Santa Ana. Yeah, there's one that exists now in Santa Ana where they do like hip hop shows and like all that shit. But the one that we went to, it was still flourishing at this time, mind you. This is like 2004, 2005, late 2005, around there. Some shit like that. I forgot. But yeah, bro, it's crazy, bro. Like, so these foods where they performed, they had like a DJ up there. Like if you're looking at the shop, you know, it's a graffiti shop, and like they fucking had a DJ up there, and then like these fools were just like down the stairs, kind of like all of them were like just like down the bro. It's just such a great experience, bro, with that fool Guerra, bro. I've tried to look him up, bro, and I just can't find him, bro. But that fool was like, he was on some shit, bro. He was like the short, bald fool, like just like hip hop head fool, you know what I mean? Rocking the Air Maxes with like just like a white tee, baggy pants, and then like a 5-panel. You know what I mean? Like a LRG 5-panel from back in the day. Like, you know, that shit was hard, bro.
LA Underground look. Yeah. LA Underground
look. Yeah. Exactly. Like graffiti hip hop head, you know? But yeah, that was hard, bro. I remember that. And I always wish like I would go back and stay there for a couple of hours, dog. Like that was like,
that's the one with the stairway going up? There's the stage is like a fucking like a balcony, or am I tripping?
Pretty much. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. It's like that.
I've seen a lot of like when I was into like the Valley Foods.
Oh, bro, yes.
Early 2000, videos. Early 2010, like 2010, 2011. A lot of fools would go perform there, I think.
Yep. It's right there, fool. Because there used to be this record store next to it called Futura or some shit like that. Bro, that shit was that was like the most amazing fucking time of my life, bro. Like, shouts out to that fool, dog, for but you know what I mean? It takes a fucking assistant teacher to read 2 fucking kids that he wants to take to a hip hop show, dog.
That's like sometimes the world, the miracles of the world happen with the most unexpected people.
Real shit, bro.
The most
And
unexpected people always come through for you, dog. And it's, sometimes we wish it's our parents or our tios or tias or our cousins, but
right,
most of the time it's never them, dog. Most of the
right,
time it's never them.
right. Yeah, no, it's and that's beautiful that you say that, because even though as sad it could be for some people that have that connection, but for me that I don't have that connection, I don't know if you don't have that connection, but for me I don't have that connection. So it's like it's okay to say, you know what I mean? Because it is true. Like some of those connections that we should have, we don't. But when somebody comes around and does that kind of shit for you, especially like at fucking like 14, bro, like that shit is the hardest shit in the world. It's something that you won't ever forget, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Well, look, we have to cut this first part of your story a little short today. We'll
For sure.
continue this into a part two. We'll finish off the rest of your high school years. We'll talk about your music journey and your graffiti journey. You also want to, touch base on fatherhood and a little bit more of other parts of your story. Final question before we end, and the question reads: if you could talk to the future Lost Albert, what would you ask him?
If I was to talk to the future Lost Albert,
Yeah,
I hope you enjoyed your journey here on Earth.
ooh, that's powerful. That's a powerful question right there.
Yeah, bro, for sure.
That
That's one thing. Definitely.
that's a beautiful. I never. Yeah, that's what I love. I love. I've been debating. Because I had another podcast where obviously you were a guest, and we kind of talked on a similar topic. And I
Right.
stopped doing that for a bit because I didn't know if this was right. But now doing this, and I'm kind of collecting an anthology, dog, of people's stories that I know. My network is so wide.
Right.
I know so many fucking people, dog, and it's not like on a flex, but I feel like it is my duty, dog, and it's my mission on this earth to
Most
be
that.
a storyteller and to help people tell their stories. And I
Hmm.
love this podcast and this platform because when I ask this question, it's always different. Everybody
Right.
always wants to know something different about their future selves, and it makes you think, because when I'm the host, I get to hear everybody's answers, right? Like
Hmm.
people who want to hear other people's answers, they would have to tune in. But
Right.
being in this position, in this unique position as being the host, you get to hear it, you get to see it from the person or hear from the person that right? So you know their perspective
Right.
and their point of life, and then you also reflect on your own, right? So
Most
to
that.
me, I'm in a unique position. Well, I want to thank you for that question, because now I'm gonna be able to think on something today when I do my night walk at home, and everything's like
Most def.
that's beautiful. Well, I appreciate you, my boy. Thank you for taking some time out of your night. I know it's what is it, 2 3 hours ahead?
2 hours.
So it's 9 o'clock over here, right? So it's what, 11 over there, about to be 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for taking time out of your night to do this podcast interview. You want to final words before we end it?
Shit, thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. I know you've always reached out, and I appreciate your presence. I appreciate you even wanting to do this. And I know I mentioned it to you, and I appreciate that, man. Heavy. I feel like we're two dope human beings that need to be heard, and eventually I want to start my own shit too. And uh, I know you'll help me push, and I'll help you push as much as I can with this with you, and um just pretty much, man. You know what I mean? It's all love. Everything is beautiful.
And if you're listening, I'm sorry we have to cut it short. I know this story is interesting. You want to hear a little bit more, but that's the way things work, right? Scheduling purposes, and sometimes things happen. Obviously, the time differential doesn't help us and everything, because I'm in LA and he's in Arkansas, whatever.
Right.
But thank y'all for tuning in. It's your boy O3, O3's Exhibit. Don't forget to love yourself today. All right, adios. Stepping out the door with some fresh 90s, the old whites, the drips nice. Yeah, I'm icy, but I don't wear eyes. Still a fool that looks fly. Got my button down on, let's get lost in the